Hey guys, welcome back to our Oak and Hazel channel. I'm the Oak. So I did have somebody after my last video about the saws send me a line and say, hey, what kind of kit do you normally take out for trekking? So I figured this would be a great opportunity just to show you guys the tools that I like to bring with me just for a short trip. But please watch all the way through to the end, because I will have something for you at the end, just a little bushcraft trick that I like to use. That I'm not the only one, I didn't create it, but it's a good trick to use. But yeah, we're going to take a look at all of the tools that I like to take, whether it's for a day trip or longer. But right now we're just going to take a look kind of like the day camping, the tools that I bring with me as part of my kit for when I'm going out with my family, or even if I'm going out solo. We'll start with my backpack, because that's, for me, is a big one. I tend to like the external frame type of packs, the old school ones versus the internal frame. Not that there's anything wrong with them, it's just a personal preference. I find those big 90 liter, 75 liter bags are great if you're, trekking around the world kind of thing, but even for a few days, you don't take that many clothes with you, to be honest. You really don't want to be changing in and out of clothes all that often, especially not in winter camping. And if it's for a day trip, then you just want something that will carry all of the essentials. So this has 6 pockets. 1, 2, TP up here, always keep that with you. 1, 2, Velcro on the front, and you've got a zippered one right there in the front. It does have a big pouch here, does have a big pouch at the bottom. So what I usually keep in the big pouch at the top is a spare hoodie in case I get too sweaty or get kind of damp. I want to change out so I don't get cold. Or if with the kids, I also bring some wool socks, 2 pairs, a pair of jogging pants and undies for my son, just in case he has an accident. That way, just kind of safety. So then the next thing that we're going to look at is today we'll actually be featuring 2 of the 5 C's. So we're going to be looking at cordage and cutting. So cordage is where I'm going to start. I like to have as much cordage as I can safely carry without taking up too much room in my pack. So in here, I've probably got about 100 feet of thicker, longer line, and I take about 80 feet of this small green poly line that I use for tying tarps into place or tying pieces of wood together, whether it's for building a shelter, fire shield, or building a chair or a table or bench, anything like that. I'll use it to lash it together nice and tight. And you see in there's even a bit of yellow poly. That was from a trip last year. Anytime I see rope that people leave behind, I take it with me. I know some people are like, oh, you should leave it for the next person. Okay, yeah, I get it. But why waste that cordage? If someone else is going to lose it, then I'll use it, man. Absolutely, because you never know what you can tie it into and when it may come in handy. So cordage, one of the 5 C's for survival. From there, we're going to go to C number 2, which is cutting. Cutting tools. Knives, that's where we'll start. What I like to take with me for knives is we'll start with one of my new ones, which is a favorite, which is my big hunting knife. This is probably the largest knife that I carry. I don't carry anything bigger. You don't need really anything crazy. I'm not big on the K-bar or survival style of knife. They're kind of cool, but I'm a bit of a traditionalist. Nice wood handle, nice leather sheath. You'll notice that this is conspicuously empty. I read some reviews before purchasing this, and one thing they said was that the fire stick that goes in this little pocket often gets caught on branches and gets pulled out. Mine did, so I have another one. I do have spares, which is always important to have, so I don't stick one in there anymore. So let's take a look at the knife. Nice forged knife, that nice forged hammered look on the outside. This one's made by Hunt Shield. I love it. Exceptional, heavy, got some serious heft to it, very thick blade, very thick spine. So incredibly sharp, more of a chopper, as you see by the shape, right? Great for cutting up game, getting into joints, or even if I'm notching wood in order to make like a bench, a seat, or anything like that. That is where this beauty really comes in. The only thing I find is missing is there's no handle, no hole in the handle for me to put a lanyard, which I really like to be able to have to get around. Nice grip, nice and thick, kind of a square, stocky handle. Full tang, which is something I was looking for. The metal of the blade goes all the way through the handle, so when you're using it as a chopper, you get the full force of the blade and you don't risk shattering it right there at the ricasso. So we'll put that sucker away, so not to have any accidents. Then next what we will look at is one of my favorites. I've had it for a long time, and you can tell because the back is starting to wear. I'm gonna have to repair that. But this is my Coleman Multi-Tool, but I've got two things in here. So fixed blade knife, which is what I just showed you, is important to have, as well as a folding knife. This is a nice little locking blade, hollow see-through handles, you can tell. It has a little clip so you can hang it on your belt. I don't know why you'd do that. It would be a pain in the ass to get off. But this I use for little jobs, cutting lines, stuff like that. It is great, great little carving tool. I've used it in conjunction with other stuff when making like a split fork fishing spear, stuff like that. It's pretty cool. I like it. Lockable, squeeze the back, boom, shuts down, slides in here because funny enough, the Coleman pouch had enough room for 2 items. I like to kind of double up wherever I can. So here is my Coleman Multi-Tool. Pair of pliers, needle nose pliers with a wire cutter in the middle, various tools, knife, your screwdrivers, bottle opener, little mini saw, nail file, ruler. Never know when you're gonna need it. That's kind of my motto is, hold on to something just in case. If it doesn't take up too much weight or too much space. I know that rhymed, that wasn't my intent. So that goes on my belt. I put that on my belt with my hunting knife on the other side. That is incredibly useful, though. 2 of those, I've used them quite a few things. Another one that I purchased, so it was just for fun. I got it from the dollar store. And this is just because when I was on my own, or if I was camping with my buddy like I did this year in Algonquin, then fork, spoon. And the beauty of it, this is the part I like the best. It breaks into 2 parts. Yeah, it's got a knife on this side. Keep that sharp, take care of it. Again, one of my dollar store finds because I am a notorious cheapskate. It was only a couple bucks, but was something that I wanted to get for myself for fun. And sometimes you got to do that. It doesn't take a lot of room in my pack. I have a pouch specifically for that and a few other small items. One thing I carry when I go out with my son is his little facsimile Swiss Army knife, if you will. It has a knife, it has a bottle opener, it has a corkscrew, it has a little saw, a little screwdriver. I attach the little lanyard with a brightly colored tape so that if he does drop it, easier to find. Because without it, this disappears into brush very easily, and believe it or not, disappears in snow real fast. You got this sticking out, it's a little easier to catch. So that I've taught my 6-year-old how to use, and he's very responsible with it, and we only use it when we go out together. And when we are not out there, it stays in my pack. So that's a rule that we have. Along with that, we'll now take a look at fire starters. I do have a nice little fire stick with that scratch plate on there. Beauty. I love it. No longer going to stick one of these into that little pocket on my knife. Keep that in the pocket with the spork, the spoon and fork, and the little knife there in that little pouch. I keep that there so that I've got it. But I do have a spare just in case. There's another dollar store find. You see these on all sorts of websites and some really cool ones. The compass on this one, useless. Garbage compass, I didn't buy it for that. The little emergency whistle on it actually does work. See, actually works, and it's pretty loud too. Clip's open. Inside of the clip, there's your little fire starter, and there's your scratcher right there. And the bracelet itself is parachute cord. Really useful to have, again, that cordage. Always having something because you never know when you're going to need it. So those are my fire starters. I've already gone through the saws with you, the folding saw. My son and I each have one. I believe this one is mine, has my initials on it. We each have one along with my nice big flat saw, the hook bill saw. So we got those. So next what I want to take a look at is hatchets and axes. I have one around here that I had used for a long time. I'm not going to show it to you because it's not my favorite. I got it. I didn't think to check if it was sharp when I picked it up from a local hardware or national hardware chain. When I was camping with the family quite a few years ago, and I get to the campground and I take it out and I go to hit a log and it bounced. Better used as a hammer. It's all steel, it's all metal, but it was never sharpened before it was sold. That's what you get for paying 20 bucks for a hatchet. This one is one that I've taught my son to use to be able to prune the deadfall. As I'm cutting it down, he prunes all the little branches off, and he only uses it when it's with me. Again, I've taught him how to use it responsibly, and he is good. It is a very light, kind of funky hatchet. Somebody gave this to me quite a few years ago. It was my father-in-law. I think it was in like a Christmas stocking kind of thing. It's cool, looks neat. It's got a little hook on the back for doing different things. The grip isn't great. It's all one thin piece of metal. I've used it more for carving and for shaving things down. Even made the fishing spear I told you about this summer using this and my folding knife. But the other thing I do like, of course, is cordage. Again, you've got cord wrapped all around that handle. That can in turn be used. You just pull the lanyard out and untie it, and that can be used for whatever emergency needs. Awesome to have. Incredibly lightweight. Comes in a nifty little sheath that is actually a belt. Has a belt loop on it. I tried it once. Oh, horrible. You'll lose the axe real quick. So next are my two lovelies that I've just purchased. Thanks to my wonderful sister who got me a gift card to Lee Valley. I'm not pumping any particular company, but one of my favorite places. And I went looking at axes and stuff, and there was a few neat ones, but I needed a new hatchet, a solid hatchet, not just that little fun one, a good working hatchet, and I needed a splitting axe. And we'll get into the splitting axe after. I'll show you that after. But first, there's the hatchet. About 1.5 pounds, really light. I attached the lanyard through the handle. It's a hollow handle, which for the shorter hatchet, I'm not that worried about. The fiberglass handle has a rating for temperature down to -30. So in this part of the world, yeah, kind of important. The blade, super sharp. I've taken care of it. I've been keeping it sharp. I've only had it about a month. I got it, my birthday was just before Christmas, so it's got a few little nicks in it, but I hone it as soon as I get home, clean it, hone it, oil it, and this is great for kindling. Man, is it ever good for kindling. I wouldn't use it for little carving stuff, but for doing different little jobs, notching stuff, if I'm gonna put, stuff together, this is great. It's got some heft to it. All of the weight is in the head, not that handle. This handle is super light, so you feel it with that forward weight first, right? Comes with a plastic case, locks in place, can hang it up at the campsite, or hang it on the wall here in my wonderful little crazy shop garage. Then we come to the big one. This is my splitting axe. Again, with a nice plastic case to cover the blade and protect it. This I've gotten to use a few times now, and I love it. Nice long beard to it, really nice. And by splitting axe, I'll show you why when we look at it this way. You see those little flanges on either side? That allows it to go into the wood and literally push the wood apart versus a smoother blade, right? With a broader beard. This is entirely for splitting wood apart. You could use it for taking down a tree. It does have the heft and the weight to it, not super heavy, but enough in the front for you to be able to do it. But I would suggest if you're gonna take down like deadfall, standing deadfall, use a saw. A nice aggressive saw will go fairly quick. But in a pinch, this will definitely do the job. It has the weight. One thing I didn't like though is, again, hollow handle. And I'd read some things about fiberglass handles shattering just from the impact. And I found there was a lot of vibration. See that there? No longer hollow. I shaved down a piece of wood, made sure it was the exact dimension on the inside, just a little bit at a time experimentation. And then when I got it, and I had the right length too, I measured it, I used a little ball peen hammer and just fired that puppy in there. Now, it doesn't vibrate as much. I like the feel of it. It's got a little bit more weight because it wasn't very heavy wood, but now it allows me to get the job done a little bit better and faster without the vibration. And that's a big one. That's what I like with wood handles, is they tend to vibrate less. That's just me personally. If you can hear that rattling, that's because there is a light rail being built behind our house here in the burbs, and it is shaking the daylights out of our foundation. Not a lot of fun to be here, especially if you got little kids trying to sleep. So there's my main kit that I have when I'm going out on the road, or not on the road, but out in the bush. Those are the main items in my kit, but there's two others that I'll often bring, especially if I'm going by myself. One, Bushcraft 101 by Dave Canterbury. Awesome book, good for the expert and good for the novice. A lot of cool little things, like I said, for the expert, just a few little reminders, different knots that you can use and what their usefulness is, how to dress an animal, stuff like that. But also some great recipes at the back. The hardtack that on our Instagram page, Oak and Hazel, my wife Hazel, or Kelly, she made some hardtack that outdid the previous 5 attempts that I did. I tried some different ingredients in there and she kept it simple and it was beautiful. I like it. I enjoyed the book. I put clear tape on the back and front to keep it watertight, a little bit of waterproofing, even though the pages got wet. This here too is my travel log. Always keep a travel log and a pencil. Why pencil? You can erase. The travel log, it has what you're thinking about. You can journal as you're going, write locations. If you want to write GPS in for the GPS location of where you were and where you found something. I draw little maps. I draw pictures of the furniture that I build, of the shelters that I build. I describe everything in detail. It's kind of my travel journey. And that's what it should be, a travel log. Describes everything that you're doing, the types of animals, the plants that you find, the trees that are in that area, the type of fish that are in the water. That way you can go back and say, hey, yeah, I remember there was lake trout in that little lake. I'm going to go back there sometime. That's what's really cool about this. It's a record of all of that stuff. Always keep one with you, big or small. I like this size. It's convenient. I can fit it in my pack, and I make sure to put it in a bag, Ziploc bag, similar to what I have the cordage in, and put that away. So last but not least, kind of what I was telling you to watch all the way through, is one more thing that I bring with me, really important, especially in winter weather, where finding dry kindling can be a real pain. This is my Tinder bag. Now, I do a lot of stuff around woodworking stuff around here, so I get a lot of sawdust and stuff, but I also grab some cotton balls, some dryer lint, it's really flammable, and a little bit of beeswax drizzled in there makes a difference. I also use some reeds from along the water that I dry out. You can see them here. Let me grab this. This stuff, when it dries, goes up like crazy. It's awesome stuff to have. I usually keep 2 or 3 pieces in here drying, and then break them up into small, split them apart, and break them up, and that creates my little tinder package that I use to help me start a fire when I get out to my site. Makes a big difference when you got a lot of snow or a lot of rain going on. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was one of the skills that you can use with the tinder. In order the tinder bag, I mean, you can use charcoal cloth as well. Some guys use metal tins or plastic containers, and we'll get into charcoal cloth in another video. But one thing that you can do with your knife and some kindling, if you split it down, that's what I use my hatchet for, is I already split some piece of maple that I had down, nice and lean. And one of the things that you can do, and I've already started it on this one, and I'm gonna use my chopper. But you see that feathering? What you do is you get a safe surface to put that piece of wood on, and then you get your blade in. You can do this with a hatchet depending on how sharp your hatchet is, and you just comb down along the side, comb down. What you're doing is creating dry surface for your embers from your tinder and your striking stick, your fire stick. You're creating a spot in that rat's nest for that ember to take hold and to burn, and it's nice and dry. So what I'll do is, if I can't do that and bring one with me, I'll find a piece of deadfall, standing deadfall, I'll cut it down, and then I'll split it and take the inner parts that are super dry, man. When they've been standing like that, they're awesome. So that's my little journey into what I take with me. Only one item left to show you real quick. A shovel. This is another one of my notoriously cheap tricks. Dollar store shovel, right? Nice and short. Sure, you can get some fancy ones out there that'll hack down a tree and cut through a pop can and smash a beer bottle, and I don't know when the hell I'm going to do that when I'm out in the woods. I'm thinking more about latrine. This little beauty will dig down through snow and frozen earth and dig a nice little hole, because when you got to do your duty, you want to make sure to cover it up and keep it away from water sources. So having a nice little metal shovel like this that you can use, useful. again, like I said, it was at the dollar store. It cost me about $4, and comes in a little pouch. It occupies a small space in the bottom of my pack. Doesn't weigh very much. So all of that in my pack. My pack might weigh about 20 pounds. I'm good with it. I'm strong enough that I can carry it. I'm not too worried. So that is basically my day tripping kit. Apart from water and other stuff, though, and tarps and blankets, that's the list of tools that I take with myself. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more stuff, and hopefully you watched all the way through to the end. We're going to be posting a lot more about some of the things that we do and why and what we do. And even next time, I'll talk to you guys about where we got the name of the channel from. So take care, guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep your stick on the ice. This pandemic is kicking our butts.